Breaking news.
This case will not be complete until this cowardly attacker receives the justice that he deserves.
Attacked by a complete stranger after a UW student was brutally beaten, Madison police say they now have a suspect behind bars. The news comes 72 hours after the attack released Sunday morning when a female student was found badly beaten and sexually assaulted. Police say other students can now rest easier knowing the attacker is behind bars. NBC 15's Elizabeth Wattis joins us live now to break down the timeline of the past 3 days. And Elizabeth, we're learning more about the suspect as well.
Yeah, Mark, police say the suspect, 26-year-old Brandon Thompson, was not in their system until today. They say he had no prior criminal background when he attacked a student just days before classes. Now, this all according to police, of course. Chief Shon Barnes, he just briefed me at a press conference today, and he says that police got dozens of surveillance videos from surrounding businesses that help show the suspect following the victim, again, a complete stranger. They say then a witness heard some commotion, came outside and saw the victim and suspect on scene. Well, the witness says the suspect pretended to have just found the victim and then took off in a car. Well, it turns out that same car was pulled over in Fitchburg earlier in the evening. Those plates and suspect description matched. Police credit the community for helping crack the case.
As this investigation unfolded, it became evident that video evidence would play an important role in the investigation. In fact, video that we received from the community proved to be a linchpin in the investigation.
Today was a first step, but a big step, a lot still to do. So what's next? Police say even with this arrest in the books, they're still going to be combing through every single piece of evidence. They also tell me that DNA was found on scene, and right now those samples are with the Wisconsin State Crime Lab. As for the victim, we are told that she is still in the hospital. Good news, she's expected to survive. Live in Madison, Elizabeth Wattis, NBC 15 News.
Elizabeth, thank you so much for the update. The attorneys representing this suspect, Brandon Thompson, sent us a statement and a picture this afternoon. The statement says he is a graduate of the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee with a degree in criminal justice administration. This is one of the photos they shared. The statement goes on to say, quote, "The family asks the media to respect their privacy during this stressful time," end quote.